Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition. Now, here's your host, Reggie Flood.
Good morning, Saturday. Jaguar Journal. Get my stuff together, headphones on. There we go. I can hear y'all, or I can hear myself. It's the Jaguar Journal, Saturday morning. There we go. Can I hear that? All right. We good to go. Saturday. What time is it? 7:11. It's the Jaguar Journal. I'm Perry White. We getting it rocking and rolling this morning. Hey, man, I thank you guys for tuning in. That train got me this morning, like every Saturday morning. It's that one train that gets me every Saturday morning. My man Mike behind on the board, making sure y'all get the right sounds, get some of that human jukebox, that Southern University marching band in you. Hope everybody had a great week. Congratulations to all the Southern grads that have now ventured out into the world, getting ready to pursue whatever career, go in whichever direction. They make it seem like when you graduate college, it's just going to be jobs lined up waiting on you, and it's just going to be so easy out there in the world because all you need is that degree. It ain't that easy, let me tell you. You graduated along with another 100,000 other students out there in the world. You got to be a dog, as they say. You got to get out here and get it. You got to get out here and get it. And that's just what it's all about when you become a graduate. But congratulations to everybody that's graduated from all over, from the high school to, I've never been big on these elementary graduations, but now I see they do graduations for everything. I was talking to somebody not too long ago. They had someone that was graduating 5th grade. It's like, what the hell is a 5th grade graduation? I only had one graduation my whole life, so maybe I'm just feel some. Well, I had high school and I had college. But in terms of grade school, I only had one graduation. It was when I graduated high school. It wasn't no kindergarten graduation. My son had a kindergarten graduation. I was like, the hell we graduating to go to 1st grade for? All of these graduations, I mean, let's just, instead of graduating, let's just get them prepared for the next level. I don't understand all the graduations, the 5th grade graduations, the kindergarten graduation. The congratulations, you completed one half of 4th grade graduation. I just like all these graduations, man. Just let the kids go on to the next thing. Graduations are so sad. I was sad when my son graduated kindergarten. I don't even know why. They was up there singing some song, 3 little words, and it just became it wasn't exciting for me. I was happy that he had passed to go to 1st grade, but the graduation. And they was all up there all sad. They didn't, just looking. If we're going to do something, just do a program. But I'm good on the graduation stuff, man. So was that a rant for you this morning? That's just how I'm feeling. But that had threw me off earlier this week. Someone was telling me about a 5th grade graduation. I had that on my mind. I said, you know what? I'm going to say something about that on the show this week because I don't understand the importance of having all those graduations. You graduate high school and then you move on. And if whatever else in life you decide to do, then you graduate from there. But you don't need all those extra ones. But congratulations to everybody out there. I know it is important to a lot of people and families. So, for you guys, I hope you enjoyed it. And be ready to get out there in the world for those that are listening that did graduate. No matter what you do, you got to be a go-getter out here in this world. You got to be able to be one to go get it because if not, this world will chew you up and spit you out. It is hard, especially in these day and age. It used to just be you needed a college degree and it would get you somewhere. These days, you need a degree, you need a master's, you need to be working on a PhD, you need to have a Juris Doctorate, you need to have all type of stuff in this world because there's so many people out there that are in the same field. I didn't realize when it was put in perspective for me. I graduated in political science from Southern, And, I'm ready for the world to get out here. But you know how many other people graduated in political science across the nation at that same time? Too many. Too many for me to have to go put in that application somewhere, and they putting in that same one. So let's get ready to take a break. That's my little rant for this morning. Stop all them little graduations, man. You graduate when you're in the 12th grade and you get ready for college. You don't need a second grade graduation, all right? Let's get ready to take a break. It's more of the Jaguar Journal.
Why?
All right, 7:18 a.m. It's the Jaguar Journal. Let's get it rocking and rolling this morning. NBA, you guys been paying attention to the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. It has been something to watch, especially last night if you paid attention to the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics game, man. What a game. The Heat come back, storm back in the fourth quarter to get that victory, 111-105. Jimmy Butler last night scores 27 points. Now Miami takes the lead 2-0 in that Eastern Conference Final. And, man, I said it, and I say it, and I say it. Eric Spoelstra, the head basketball coach for the Miami Heat, this is a guy that can really coach up a team. Every year the Heat have been in a contention. They run up on some big teams, of course, but to see them play the way that they've been playing against the Boston Celtics, I thought the Boston Celtics, when you look at the firepower of Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, just to name a few of those guys, and as well as their bench, I thought they were the better team. They struggled a little bit against the 76ers, found a way to get past Joel Embiid, who, of course, was the league MVP this year. But then they take on the Miami Heat, and right now the Heat, especially when you look at the way Jimmy Butler has been playing, Man, I think you got to take your hats off. Eric Spoelstra, man, he is one heck of a coach to continue to have the Heat in contention. A lot of people, including myself, have thought the Heat, and most times when you see coaches who have previously had a guy like LeBron James, after LeBron leaves, the teams kind of go all over the place, and the coaches typically end up out the door. Eric has been there since LeBron has left and continuously had his teams battle. And right now they're battling with the Boston Celtics, getting the victory last night, 111-105 to take a 2-0 in the series against the Boston Celtics. I like the way Jimmy Butler is playing. I think they shocked everybody. If you watched that game last night, the fourth quarter, what a hell of a fourth quarter for the Miami Heat. They scored 36 points. They stormed back. They were down most of that game, and especially when they got to the fourth quarter, found a way to get it done, erased a double-digit lead by the Boston Celtics and got back in it. On the other side, in the Western Conference Finals, of course, you're looking at the Denver Nuggets, who I love their jerseys, those light blue jerseys with the mountain range across. Used to be one of my favorite jerseys, especially back in the day when Carmelo Anthony hooped for this team, man. That was one of my favorite ones. But Denver Nuggets taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. You look at the Lakers, you look at LeBron James. It's hard to count out LeBron James, as they say. It's hard to count the guy out. I think ever since Dillon Brooks really ticked him off in that series against the Memphis Grizzlies, it seemed like he had that look in his eye. You said, you never heard that? They said, man, he got that look in his eye. LeBron James had that look in his eye for pretty much the entire series against Memphis. And he had a cast of guys, including the bench, that stepped up when they took on Golden State. Now, I thought Golden State was going to have enough firepower to get it done. But Klay Thompson, I don't know where he's at. They still looking for Klay Thompson. I mean, he's somewhere on the playground shooting at the rate he's going. He's shooting like a third grader out there. When you go 2 of 12 from the three-point line, but, of course, we know with Golden State, it is live by the three, die by the three. Steph Curry seems to be the only one alive right now because everybody else died when they missed all the three-pointers out there. Jordan Poole, don't know where he was at. Klay Thompson, got him on the back of a milk carton. We're still looking for, they don't even do that no more, the missing people on the back of milk cartons, but Klay Thompson's on the back of one. Still looking for him, and Golden State fell short in that. So you look at the Lakers, you look at LeBron, you look at what they're able to do. If Anthony Davis, he's a baller, but he's getting worked out right now. He's getting worked out in this series. And when you look at right now, 108-103 the other night, Denver was able to get past the Lakers. They take a 2-0 up in this series against the Lakers, and I'm impressed with what I see with the Nuggets. They have been one of the better teams the entire year. When you look at what the Nuggets have been able to do, I think LeBron right now, when you're starting to see, you have to score a lot of points to beat Denver. You have to be in the range of about 115 to 120 if you want to beat Denver. I just don't think the Lakers can do that consistently, solely dependent on LeBron, and AD has to have a heck of a night to complement LeBron. You look at the box scores from the last game, AD with 18 points, LeBron James with 22 points. Reeves didn't know who he was until this year. I'm not even going to lie. 22 points. Russell, 10 points. Vanderbilt, 4 points. You got to get better than that, man. You look at a guy like, how about this? Jamal Murray, the point guard for the Denver Nuggets, went off for 37 points the other night. That's the deciding factor in the game right there. That's what it got him over your 5-point lead. You win the game by 5 points. You get a guy like Murray to go off for 37, 6 of 14 from the three-point line. He was letting it rain, 11 of 24. Sports betting especially, because I told you guys as you listen, I am a sports bettor. I'm not going to tell y'all because until I get my endorsement, what app I use, but I definitely gamble. I sports bet. It ain't illegal. And I mostly do player props. So for a lot of people that's out there that's listening, you can do the money line, you can do the spread, and you can do the over-under when it comes to the points. But mainly with me, when I do games like this, especially this time of year, this is a great time to bet, especially when you're looking at basketball on the NBA side and you got a conference final, the East and Western Conference final, because you can pretty much bet your money on who you think is going to go off, like a Jimmy Butler type of night. Now, where you get your money at is when you put your money down on Jamal Murray to go over how many other points, and he ends up with 37. Now, who you fall short with is when you start to look at guys like LeBron, Anthony Davis, even Jimmy Butler. Over time, I have learned to kind of back away from Jimmy Butler when it comes to those player props, just because Jimmy Butler has so much inconsistency. One night he can give you 46. The next night he'll come back and give you 18. Then you'll look up again, he got you 34. And I'm not saying he's like supposed to be a machine out there. He's no robot where he just has to give me that every night, but it fluctuates so much. But a lot of times I go for guys where I know the assist, and a lot of times I go with guys that I know with the rebounds. Now, you lucky you get you a guy with a triple-double. Clean across the board. You're lucky if you can get you one of those guys with a triple-double. But, you know, sports betting, it has been kind, and it has been cruel. Probably more cruel than kind, because if that was the case, I wouldn't be doing this show, huh? I'd be somewhere sitting on the island this morning with all my winnings. But this is a great time if you guys have not gotten into it, or for you guys that do, that are into it, and you're trying to find, how do I do it? Because I know a lot of people, they simply worry about the game and say, well, it's not enough games to make enough money unless you betting big on an underdog. And in these series, I really don't think there's an underdog, but with both teams, when you look at the Denver Nuggets and when you look at the Miami Heat going up 2-0, you kind of have to put the Lakers and the Celtics, and it's crazy enough to put the Celtics in the underdog position. Jason Tatum, that's another guy that I like to, if they say, put some money on. Jaylen Brown, he's a guy that can get you something too. Stay away from Marcus Smart unless you want your assist game. I go to Marcus Smart when I'm looking for assists. He's a good facilitator. He'll dish it around and feed whoever he needs. I'm not really, altogether, when it comes to the Heat, I stay away. I'm not too confident with betting on a player prop from anybody with the Heat. But that's the thing about the Miami Heat. As much as I'm not comfortable with them, they have continuously showed they are a contender, because you never know who it's going to come from. And that's the thing about them. So I don't know, when you look at this series, I think Denver will close out the Lakers. We'll find out by the time we do the next episode of the Jaguar Journal next week how that series is going to go. But right now, LeBron James and company seems to be a little in trouble. They're down 2-0. But I think it's mighty impressive. And now this begins the conversation. And I have to really put respect for you. I grew up in the Jordan era. I was around in Chicago. Michael Jordan was the greatest, it still is in my head, the greatest basketball player ever. But it always comes down to that conversation with eras. You know, if you in this era, you in that era, you in that era, you had the ability to watch guys. And a lot of times it's who you grew up with, because you was infatuated with the game as a youngster. And as you got older, you continuously saw that game. And that's who you thought in your head was the greatest. There's a generation that think Kobe's the greatest. There's a generation that think Magic Johnson's the greatest. There's a generation that say Dr. J's the greatest. There's a generation that say Larry Bird's the greatest. There's a generation for everything. But I got to put the respect on LeBron James, and I never thought the day would come where I would publicly say that. But I just think single-handedly what he has done in the league, it doesn't, you know, I think when it came down to Jordan, this is a hell of a barbershop conversation, because this right here get the barbershop rolling at 7:30 in the morning. LeBron or Michael Jordan. But for me, I think when you look at LeBron James and when you look at Michael Jordan just seems like he transcended the game. I think the effect that he had on the game, speeding the game up and just watching the swagger that he had, something about that. Then you include his shoes, he lives on forever, the Jordan brand. But at the same time, when I look at LeBron, just overall, to be almost 40, and still have that dominating way about himself in the league, 20 years. 20 years. He's older than me, and I can't run up and down the court right now doing a full court game. And to be dominant in a league in which you see young people come in, it's so many. To be honest, the NBA these days, there's a lot of guys I don't even know their names. The superstar factor for me in the NBA just ain't there like it used to be. There are some guys that you do know. But it used to be, you can name at least 3-4 guys every team in the league. There used to be a time where there was so many names, you were familiar with the talent in the league. These days, it's not quite like that. Not for me. You didn't even have to know basketball to know who was in the league. Same way like when you look at baseball these days. You used to know baseball. Who the hell plays baseball? I don't know. Mike Trout still plays baseball? Maybe. Yeah. But when you see what LeBron James is able to do, man, I think it's absolutely amazing. I think what we're watching in this era that we've been able to be in, to see a guy like LeBron James. We watched a guy, Tom Brady. These guys, to be able to see that in the era that we in, I don't think we'll appreciate it while we watching. I'm trying to appreciate as much as I can of watching LeBron, and now it's taken me this long to really, truly have respect for the guy, which I've always did. But I'm telling you, he lost me ever since he did that thing in Miami when he say, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. I thought he wrote a check that his couldn't cash. That was the only thing. That's the only blemish I'm going to put on LeBron when it comes to him and when it comes to his legacy. He named out a bunch of championships. Now, when in the world I live in, you got to if you're gonna talk it, you got to walk it. And he didn't do that in Miami. So I mean, I hold that against him. But he made Cleveland Cavaliers a contender, a world champion. Then he goes over and then he takes the Lakers. He wins the championship there and has them in the Western Conference Final. I got to put some respect on LeBron, and I'm doing it publicly today. I have never done that, but today, LeBron James, I'm putting some respect on you, brother. I hope you guys can get past Denver. You got some work to do, but right now the Cavaliers are not in the playoffs because they don't have LeBron James. But you look at the Denver Nuggets, you look at the Los Angeles Lakers. Should be a good series. Denver Nuggets up 2-0 on the other side. Jimmy Butler in the Miami Heat 2-0 over Boston Celtics. All right, that's enough of my basketball conversation with you guys today. We're going to take a break, come back. Baseball. Stay tuned, more to Jaguar Journal. All right, here we go. 7:35 a.m. It's the Jaguar Journal. I'm Perry White. Good morning. Thank you guys for tuning in, getting up early with me on this Saturday morning. The month of May seems like it's rolling by. I looked up, today is May 20th. Shout out to my grandmother. Yesterday was her birthday, May the 19th. She's in Chicago, so congratulations to her. And it's funny when it comes to my grandmother. She learned how to text before my mom. So now my grandmother is a major texter. She's been a texter for years, but she rather enjoys the conversation through text while my mom still enjoys the old school phone calls. So shout out to my grandmother for her birthday. We jump over to baseball. Let's talk about the Southern University Jaguars. Last week, they took on Alcorn in the weekend series. 2 games played on Sunday because of a postponement of earlier that weekend. The Jags go and they get the series. They win 2-1 in that series, winning game 1 3-0, game 2 5-2. They lost the last game 8-9 to Alcorn on the road. They played a doubleheader on Sunday on the 14th, one at 1 o'clock, the other at 4 o'clock. So the Jags got past that and got that series this weekend. They got my hometown, Pine Bluff. Go to Lions in the house. I don't know how many showed up, but they in the house. Baseball from the Golden Lions didn't show up as they took on the Jaguars Thursday, Friday, and they closed that series out today. The Jags could sweep them right back to Arkansas if they get the victory today. You look at game 1 on Thursday, Southern 7-6. If you paid attention to that game, Southern scored 3 runs late in the ninth inning. Early in the ninth inning to be able to get that victory, and it got past the Golden Lions in game 1. In game 2, complete dominating fashion for Southern University baseball as they got the victory 12-2 over UAPB. And then today, 3 o'clock, Lee Hines Field, Lee Hines Stadium, excuse me, there's Southern and Pine Bluff. I'll be out there today. I got to go see. Anytime Southern and Pine Bluff play in any sport, I'm typically there supporting. Southern Pine Bluff played for the women's basketball championship. I was there. I try to hype up the Southern Pine Bluff football game, but a lot of Jaguar fans look at me and say, man, ain't nobody studying no UAPB Golden Lions. And I say, well, I tried. Baseball, the tournament is coming up May 24th, going into Atlanta this year. We've seen years where this baseball tournament has jumped around. I thought it was best in New Orleans. They say New Orleans obviously didn't do enough in terms of what the SWAC considered to put themselves in a position to be able to host it, but they moved it to Jackson. It's been all over the place. It's been in Alabama. But I thought myself personally, I enjoyed going to cover and watch it down in New Orleans. But to be in Atlanta, this is a new thing. Atlanta isn't SWAC country per se. It's not, it's in Georgia, but there's no SWAC schools in Georgia. And I think they pulled it so far away. It is far away from all these schools. At least, if you had it, and a lot of people would say outside of New Orleans, I never was around when they had it in Baton Rouge, but I know a lot of people would say they loved when the SWAC championship was in Baton Rouge. You saw the support and you saw people. I think you got to keep your championships in a realm of where people can get there and support. If your team just so happens, you may not be paying attention to the first opening rounds of the tournament, but if your team just so happens to get into a championship game, you want to be in close enough range to where you can at least drive there and maybe make a trip back. Atlanta, let's just be honest, you're looking at Baton Rouge, Alcorn, Prairie View, Texas Southern, Grambling, Pine Bluff, Valley. Atlanta is a pretty far place from any of those places that I'm naming on the west side. Everything along the Mississippi River and on farther west of the Mississippi River. Now, for your Alabama schools, Alabama State, of course, 2 hours from Atlanta, maybe. Huntsville, still right there within the realm. Tallahassee, Bethune-Cookman. But I just think you got to bring it more centralized. You got to bring that thing back around. But it'd be interesting. Will the city of Atlanta come out and support SWAC baseball? That's what I would like to see. May 24th, SWAC baseball tournament. It will be in Atlanta, Georgia, Russ Chandler Stadium. For a lot of people, if you've never been and you're listening, you're in the Atlanta area, go check it out. May 24th through May 28th. Will be the SWAC baseball tournament. And let's look at the standings as we get ready to close out the regular season and get ready to head into the tournament. When start on the east side of the SWAC baseball standings, Alabama State, the team to beat, I think, right now, when you look at the conference as a whole, 26-4 in conference play. They are 39-16 right now overall. Right behind them, Bethune-Cookman, 20-8 29-24 overall. Florida A&M in that third place spot, 18-12 in conference play, 24-27. Overall, Jackson State, man, they have just struggled this year in the SWAC. 12-17 in conference play, 27-23 overall. Behind them, the Delta Devils of Mississippi Valley, 7-23 in conference play, 15-37 overall. And in that last place spot in the SWAC East, Alabama A&M, who their head coach is a Southern grad, Coach Elliott. Of course, he was here at Southern for a while. 5-24 in conference play, 14-34. The Bulldogs going to have to find a way to get it back together next year, but right now they're in last place in the SWAC East. Man, the SWAC East is stacked. When you look at Alabama State, Bethune-Cookman, I like those two teams right now. Alabama State, for me, seems to be the team to beat when you look at SWAC baseball. On the other side, there's a team that's been rolling on the SWAC West, and they are the Tigers of Grambling State up there in North Louisiana. They're 22-6 in conference play, 27-23 overall. You look at Texas Southern and Southern right there battling it out for that second place spot. These are two teams who kind of mirror each other when you look at them. Texas Southern and Southern both 16-10 in conference play, but for the Tigers of Texas Southern, they're 30-20 overall. And for the Jaguars of Southern, they're 21-26, below 500 overall on the season. Prairie View right there behind them, solidifying that third place spot until one of these two teams falter between Texas Southern and Southern. You look at Prairie View, they're even, 14-14 in conference play. They're 18-35 overall. You look at Pine Bluff, today's opponent for the Jaguars, 10-19 in conference play, 18-31 overall. And then Alcorn State, I think perhaps could be. They giving Alabama A&M a run for their money, but I think Alcorn State, for me, might be the worst baseball team in the country. At 5-24, conference play, 8-39 overall. I can't believe Southern even dropped a game to them, but I guess it happens in baseball. They dropped that last game, but 5-24 for the Braves of Alcorn, and I know we have some Alcorn fans listening. Hey, y'all can't talk no baseball talk, Alcorn. You can talk football all day, basketball. You can't talk no baseball talk. 5-24, 8-39. So that's my little shade at Alcorn because, man, they like to talk some noise when football season come around, especially when you're on the reservation. Oh, man, you got to deal with it. So baseball, you're looking at Grambling, you're looking at Alabama State. Right now, it seems to be the two teams that I think are the heavyweights in this conference. Everybody else is kind of right behind them, and as well as Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman, Alabama State, and Grambling seems to be the teams, but you never know when you get to that SWAC baseball tournament how it's going to go. May 24th through the 28th, Russ Chandler Stadium out in Atlanta, Georgia. If you're listening, you out in the ATL, you in the Atlanta, GA metro area, be sure you get out there and support, man. That's the one thing about the SWAC. You got to get out there and support. I think they moved this game from what I was listening. The city of Atlanta offered some things when you look at a package that seems to be a lot more enticing for the conference to want to move this game there. Moving out of the footprint, moving far east out of that footprint of typically general centralized locations for this. I never went to the baseball tournament in Alabama. I'm not really sure what that was like, but I do know I enjoyed New Orleans. You know why? Because it was close for me to drive to. So that's the selfishness in me. I've been to the one in New Orleans, and when I went down there, man, Wesley Borough Field, I think they didn't like it either. It's a small field. The stadium is decent size right there by the lake, by Lake Pontchartrain. But, man, for me, I just enjoyed having it in New Orleans. I thought people showed up. When you looked in the stands, you had an opportunity to see the full support. And so, you know, moving it to Atlanta, I won't be able to make it. That's kind of far unless the SWAC calls me and say, hey, we want you to call a game. Now, I do that. Commentating some SWAC baseball because I'm pretty sure it can get real interesting. I watched some SWAC softball. They streamed it live on YouTube, so I had an opportunity to watch some of that. Southern softball team did not make it into the SWAC softball tournament this year. Want to see where their program is going to go moving forward in the future, and try to get the softball coach on here. Maybe I've never even met her, so that'll be something to do. That's what I think I'm gonna do in the future. Try to get the softball coach. I want to see what's her plans for the program and see how can we help. And as well as you guys listen, you may know somebody who has a daughter that plays softball. We can send them over there to Southern, try to jack up that program and get them heading in the right direction. So next year they can make that SWAC softball tournament. Southern's baseball team would definitely make the baseball tournament this year. They close out a weekend series today against Pine Bluff, 3 o'clock first pitch. So if you're around, be sure to go over there to the Bluff Lee Hines Fields, Lee Hines Stadium, and check out Southern University against my hometown, the Golden Lions of Pine Bluff. You know, I got love for both schools. My mom is a UAPB graduate, but she ain't talking no baseball noise either. So just like the Alcorn fans, we'll take to another time, because right now Southern looks like they're going to close out their series today. All right, enough of baseball. Let's take a break. Let's pay some bills, and we come back. We'll keep this conversation going. More to Jaguar Journal.
At Stabs Prime on Jefferson Highway. Be sure to tell Chef B hello.
Dumpsters, they all look the same, and trash all smells the same. But the company that brings a dumpster to you to collect your residential or construction debris, well, they are not all the same. Southern Roll-Off stands above the rest because of their service to you. Call and tell them what you need, and the price you get on the phone will be the rate that you pay. There are no hidden fees after the fact based on weight, and that's the Southern Roll-Off difference. Nobody can beat their service. They have a 5-star rating on Google to show for it. Southern Roll-Off. Call 238-8000 or visit southernrolloff.com. 238-8000.
Hunt's Tire Pros and Car Care Center open up every morning, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. I've known the owner, Les Hunt, for many years, and you have too. He treats his customers like it would be his own wife and his own family members. Today's times, you want your vehicle to get you where you need to go. Nobody can do it any better than Les Hunt. Part of the community, the fabric of Baton Rouge for a long time. All changes, tune-ups, alignments, anything you need done. Hunt's Tire Pros and Car Care Center on Greenwell Springs Road, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. It doesn't get any better.
LWCC celebrates champions of Louisiana, the people, companies, and nonprofits going above and beyond to elevate Louisiana. Champions of Louisiana are all
so hated. I'm gonna get it to the morning light.
All right, we're back. This is Jaguar Journal. Perry White, 7:49 a.m. Talk some NBA, some SWAC baseball as we wind down. On the baseball side, next time we'll be talking about getting ready for the SWAC tournament as this starts this week. SWAC baseball tournament in Atlanta, Georgia, 24th through the 28th. So be able to get out there and check that out. We're going to get my guy Jim Kleinpeter on the other side at 8 o'clock. He's going to come on and talk some football with us, give us an update, because I know a lot of people been checking it out. I get stopped all the time. Hey, man, how we looking next year? Hey, man, what we looking like? I said, man, you know what? I really don't know. Fall camp spring football wasn't, I guess, the indication that I was looking for in order to try to say I can measure this team up. I was asked the other day who I thought I had as a favorite, and I saved that for when Jim comes on to win the conference this year. And I have a team in mind. In which I think that'll be able to do it. But, other than that, what's going on in you guys' world? As you guys are quiet out there, I'm all by my lonesome today. 225-499-1073 is the number, 225-499-1073. As I say, we get ready to wrap up baseball, get ready to wrap up NBA as you get ready to these conference finals are going to wrap things up. And just overall, graduation just been made this time of the year. Typically, May is like, it's not a down period, but it's like you're kind of in a weird space. It's not a lot really going on. People are, especially the school teachers, they ready to get them kids up out of there. All right. All my school teacher friends, they like, man, listen, I'm counting down the days till we send them home. That's basically where we at. Just counting down the days. School teachers are that. Everybody else kind of is like, we're waiting on vacation. It's just that weird period. Like the last 2 weeks of May is always that weird little time frame to where you're coming down on the backside of collegiate sports, track and field. You're looking at baseball. I'll be interested to see as we get ready to heat up and get things going into the regionals and super regionals of baseball as well. I'm very interested. That's when I typically like baseball around that time. Once we get to that point, I've been to a few regionals myself, enjoyed it, especially the atmosphere. Baseball atmosphere is definitely different. Southern fans create an atmosphere today against them Golden Lions at Pine Bluff. Get out there. It's Saturday. Like I said, it ain't nothing going on. Memorial Day coming up. This is not considered Memorial Day weekend. It'll be next weekend, I'm sure, huh? I don't know. I lose track of times and how it all works. But, I'm interested to see how that's going to go. You look at some of the top teams in the country when you look at college baseball. LSU, of course, is right there. Everybody know. Now, I have it. I call it my favorite Confederate team because we all got a favorite Confederate team. Mike looking, he laughing. You know what I'm saying? It's typically a team in the South that you like. They like it. Alabama, LSU, I don't think nobody likes Ole Miss. I don't. I tell you, it's another word we use for them, but I'm an Arkansas fan. I'm a Razorback fan. I know a lot of people like, what? Yeah, it's tough, but hey, I stay true to it. You can catch me in any place watching Southern and Arkansas Razorbacks. I'm a Southern Jaguar, and I like the Razorbacks of Arkansas. So, but they're one of the top teams in the country as well as when you look at the baseball side. I'm not going to rant today about Southern baseball. As you see, I'm letting it slide. I'm letting it go because out-of-conference play is over. Now, if they win the conference, they win the tournament, and then they have to go play out-of-conference, you already know how I feel. I don't think they'll even win a game because guess what? It's playing against a team that ain't a SWAC team. I ain't going to mess with them too much, but that's typically how I look at when I'm looking at Southern University baseball, man. If it's full of SWAC teams, hey, we got a chance to win a national championship. You put any team out there on that schedule that ain't a SWAC team, I'm like, well, I don't. What you talking about? What we doing? But I'm not going to mess with them too much this morning, man. They winning right now, and they taking on Pine Bluff today. LeBron James and the Lakers taking on the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. Jimmy Butler, every time I look up at TV, they study showing Jimmy Butler because the Miami Heat are putting it to the Boston Celtics right now. And as I said earlier, as I started the show, let's stop, for especially those school teachers that I've been talking to, let's stop these kindergarten graduations, okay? Let's stop the first grade graduations and the sixth grade graduations and the eighth grade graduations. Them kids don't need all them graduations. They need one. Just make sure they pass and be a good parent and make sure they do their homework and get themselves together. I'm all over the place with you this morning as I'm getting to the top of the hour. How long I got, Mike, before we there? About 2 minutes. Yep. Getting to the top of the hour. Excuse me. And, and don't nobody better not call and say, have I talked about baseball? I have. Well, we got a caller? Come on, Chris. What we got?
Man, don't be so mean.
Am I mean this morning? I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today.
Don't be so mean. you talk about dragging for somebody. the baseball team, and
did you think that was being too mean this morning?
that's the way I see it and everything like that. But I just got in on the tail end of something, and you were talking about football and what have you, and your predictions, and you got a team out there that you think. I can tell you straight up right now, Perry, if this quarterback from Missouri turned out to be anything like any D1 player, them engines are going to be tough. Believe that. Alcorn State Braves are going to be tough. It's just like they always do up in Lorman, Mississippi, and if they got a trigger man, they going to be tough.
Yeah, and if they can find somebody that can remotely just throw the ball a little bit, they can run it down your throat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the thing of it is it's going to test our mettle because we got to go there for the first time in almost 3 years. So we'll find out what we got.
Because I just was talking about them folks on here talking about, they can't talk this right now. It's baseball season.
They can't.
I think Alcorn got one of the worst baseball teams in the country.
Right.
So they quiet now, but I know it'll come full swing. It'll come all the way around once the Jaguars come up there to Lorman, Mississippi. I like that matchup all the time. It's like it's like going to see your cousins up in the country. We're going up there to Mississippi to see our cousins for the weekend.
Yeah, but your cousins ought not treat you like that, though. I'm saying, I don't have a cousin in the world that treat me like the Braves treat us. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me what you're saying for the people out there, how they treat you.
Well, I mean, they laugh and grin and let you tailgate with them, then beat our brains out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
and then they come out and eat your food and drink your stuff up, looking at you, laughing at you in your face.
And I mean, and they great now, and it's a total different atmosphere with Jackson and everything like that. And, I'm always be anti-Jackson based upon when I was in school, how they used to beat our brains out even worse than the Braves do. At least with the Braves, we be in the game. When I was in school, we couldn't even be on the field with Jackson. I mean, 38 zip, 44 zip, 34 zip.
Don't do. You're doing too much, Chris. Don't give them Jackson fans none of that, because they'll relive the past on you real quick.
No, yeah, but here's the future though. Here's the past and future. They finna assume the position, not a deal. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried about that. But in all fairness though, we getting some signees steady coming in, and I seen one signee that even our new basketball coaches got, and I think basketball is gonna look up. I really do. I really and truly do, because I think it was a good hire that they made, even though people didn't know nothing about him. But then again, didn't nobody know who Pete Richardson was outside the guy. Didn't we beat them up in Shreveport? That's what everybody was saying. Why are we hiring him? So, but you get a coach that's been in the state the whole while and what have you, it's going to make a difference. But the thing that's got me concerned is, Perry, and being a 70s Jaguar and everything like that, is the Commissioner's Cup. We won like the first 14 out of 16. I mean, it wasn't even close. And now we're not even in the running for any of it. And that's just, our track program. I try not to think about it. And something has to be done on that front for us to be where we are. And, we look at football, we ain't won a championship, and that's since 2013. In the basketball program, them stats came out. But man, track, we not never even in contention. I just don't get how our athletic program as a whole has gone down like it has. Really.
We'll talk more about it. I'm at the top of the hour, and stay tuned, because we're going to have Jim Kleinpeter. We're going to talk some football, but let's keep the conversation going. Call me back on the other side of 8:30, and then we'll keep it going, all right?
All right.
All right, thank you, Chris. All right, let's take a break. More of the Jaguar Journal.
If you're looking for
Talk 107.3 FM.
All right. Jaguar Journal, top of the hour, 8:06 a.m. Shout out to everybody tuning in this morning. I am Perry White. Shout out to everybody joining us on YouTube, on the Jaguar Journal YouTube channel. Get those likes up. I always love looking at the conversations. And good morning to everybody on there. Thank you guys for tuning in and checking in with us. And thank everybody who's tuning in and checking in with us on 107.3. I got a special guest. He's joining us right now. As you can hear him in the background, that's my man, Jim Kleinpeter. Good morning, Jim. And before I get started with you, my man Varric texted me. He said, Chris, Southern Track is better than what you think. They're in a better position. Everybody in the chat, too, is saying the same thing. Just to give Chris, he says, tell Chris SU women's track finished second, and we are currently fourth in the Commissioner's Cup. So, Chris, we trying, and that's without men's and women's golf and men's tennis. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll get back to it on the other side. Jim, good morning. How you doing, man? It's been a while, man. It seems like football season, man. I was looking at you all the time, and, man, how you been?
In there, just rocking along. Been following Southern baseball, a little bit of LSU women's softball, but and then rode the Tiger, the women's basketball to the national championship there. So
yeah, you were there. I was texting you. I think I was trying to get you on that Saturday, and then you let me know you was up there in Dallas. So you had a lot going on, man. How was that following that train?
Oh, it was good. They got a lot of breaks along the way. They never had to play a one seed, and but you can't say they didn't earn it. They did it. They played their best game in the championship game. That's what I thought was the most amazing thing.
So you've been busy. Have you been able to keep up with Southern football with all of that national championship stuff and everything being all over the place?
Oh yeah, I've been dogging Eric Dooley's every step. Just calling him every week, trying to track him down, trying to get information out of him, and it's not easy. But yeah, I missed out. I missed the spring game because I was in Dallas. But I've been talking to him. He's still signing people. He signed him a quarterback, so I'm not surprised at that. But it looks like he might also lose some play. It looks like he lost Trey Lang, a defensive end who had a good year for him last year. So in the transfer portal, but I'm waiting to hear from him to catch up on what's coming in the transfer portal. Right now, I only know of two that he's got: the quarterback from Central Arkansas, and then he got another guy, and I can't.
The quarterback from Central Arkansas, he decommitted and committed to Montana.
He did.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, then that tells you right there. I'm out. I've got some catching up to do myself.
Yeah, he just decommitted. We talked about that a little bit last week. I watched and looked at some of his film. A big kid. He had the running ability. He was mobile. Still, I looked at some of his throwing mechanics, but he was a guy that I thought, if you can coach him up, the sky could be the limit for him. But yeah, he played at UL, played at UCA, Central Arkansas. He had committed to the Jaguars. Something happened along the line, and then he decommitted it. And ultimately, I saw Montana Grizzlies. He committed to be a Grizzly up there in Montana. So that was one that he lost. But for you, who have you heard outside of Trey Lang that possibly has left out of this program?
Yeah, I mean, they're always, the transfer portal works both ways. He's like I said, I don't have a, Dooley doesn't like to talk about his guys until they're signed, sealed, and delivered, and he's got them in class. So I would imagine a quarterback may leave. I don't know. It's just so wide open. He named Harold Blood the starter, and how does that work for Noah Bodden? How does that work for Dylan Marotra? So
let's talk about that quarterback room, Jim, because if you look at that quarterback room, this seems to be. It's been a long time since I've seen Southern kind of like, and I don't. Is dilemma a good word? I don't know if dilemma is a good word, but I'll use dilemma today. Since we've seen Southern, the QB room in such a dilemma, or let's say disarray. I don't know. So it's a word out there. Both those start with a D, huh? So whatever it is, there's an issue that I think maybe on the outside looking in, the way that a lot of fans are looking at it, because the conversations I've been seeing is so many quarterbacks. We got guys here. He's going out getting other quarterbacks. They had a kid here on a recruiting visit this week from Oklahoma. And it's just like, what does Dooley, for you, seems like he wants out of this quarterback room? Because it seems like he doesn't really know right now.
Well, I think what he wants is somebody with experience, with D1, D1 experience, and he doesn't have that. Bodden has a little bit of experience from Grambling. He's the one that has the most. That's why I thought maybe he would win the job. But if they go into the season with Harold Blood, it's going to be blood on the field when they go to Alabama State for that opener. That's a defensive-minded coach over there. They'll be, I don't think he has the quarterback he wants yet. I think he needs somebody with experience, and he's going to keep looking till he finds one. I guess his time's up now because the portal window is closed on Monday. So I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, for me, I'm looking at the developmental process, and I think when it comes to college football, and for a lot of coaches, I love the developmental process part of it, getting a guy in with raw talent or some talent as a freshman, and you're coaching these guys up. But it seems like now in this age of what's the commercial say, it's my money and I want it now. It seems like in this age, there's just doesn't seem time to try to coach that up. But with Noah, when you look at Noah, here's a guy, big-time recruit out of New York, had offers to go all type of places. But, he just does not seem to be able to get the keys to the car.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not privy to all the, they let us watch a little bit of practice. Not a whole lot you can see there. I think you got to give Bodden a pass for last year because he didn't get there until very late. But he's had a full calendar year now. And I don't know, maybe he'll emerge from fall practice. Maybe something will kick in. But I don't know why you would name Harold Blood the starter coming out of spring if Bodden was that far behind. Well, I don't know. It's a mystery. But the Jaguars got caught without an experienced quarterback, and that's why he's still looking, and I guess he'll keep beating the bushes until he gets one.
Yeah, because then you look at, they still have a young guy in Chris Tucker who they recruited out of high school from the Dallas area. He's a big frame kid. And then you got the kid that they recruited a transfer portal as well at the quarterback position from UAB. Have you been able to look at him? He's a local kid.
Yeah, I saw him in practice a little bit. He doesn't look a whole lot different from Bodden. He's a tall kid. He hasn't played at all though. Just 2 years of sitting, and I don't know. He played at the Class A level or Double A level in high school. So, I don't know how hopeful you should be for him. It's hard to get experience. You got to get out there and play and take your lumps. That's what experience is. You got out there and you played before you had experience, and you got your experience. And so I don't know. This is a tough spot for them to be in, especially for a guy that loves to throw the ball like Dooley does.
Let me ask you this, and then we'll move on last to the quarterback. Do you think it helped or hurt that the fact that Sean McCray moved on from that quarterback position and from this program?
Well, truthfully, and I'm not speaking for Eric Dooley here, I don't know how he could have kept him, how he could have come back with him again. That was a disaster, and it just he didn't seem to recognize how bad this was going. And it was hurting the team, and I don't think Bashawn McCray was too happy about his situation. So I don't think there was any way they could bring him back. It was not the way the season went, not the way he handled the championship game. I mean, all of a sudden, Dooley didn't just stop believing in him. And what was going on there? I mean, he looked terrible in just. I mean, 2 turnovers in 3 possessions. I mean, come on. So something was obviously wrong. There was no way that relationship could continue.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. We look around the SWAC landscape, and we move outside of Southern. Let's start in the SWAC East. Jackson State with Coach Deion Sanders. He's now gone, and now they're left with T.C. Taylor. When you look at the SWAC East for you personally, how do you see that thing shaping up right now? This is what they call that way too early, but just off of what you've seen after last year and understanding some of those changes, how you feel about that SWAC East now that Coach Sanders is gone from Jackson State?
Well, I think Florida A&M is going to be the team to beat over there, but they lost a bunch of people too, so it's really, really hard to tell. Alabama State might be on the rise. I thought they they were up and down last year. They didn't get the offense that they needed, but when you build off a defense, it's a good way to go. I wouldn't be surprised.
They played close when you look at against FAMU. When you look at against Jackson State, they showed they had the ability defense-wise, but it's just like you said, the offense was the only thing that seemed to sputter them out, especially from the quarterback position. But Alabama State last year, for me, I think that might be the dark horse coming out of the SWAC East.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. I think Eddie Robinson's a good coach. I admire what he's done. They were, I don't know how, I wouldn't say total disarray, but he got them organized, and he had a good, he's had a good start. So, we'll find out early because we'll see Southern up against them.
What you think about Cornell Manor and Alabama A&M?
Well, I don't know. I think with Deion gone and all the talent he brought with him, it's going to open everything back up. It'll be wide open. Alabama A&M is always going to be an offensive team. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, the same thing I think when you look at Jackson State and T.C. Taylor. I'm interested to see what they're going to come out and look like. They lost a lot of players to the transfer portal, but they've also picked up a lot of players out of the transfer portal. So I'm curious to see, especially with the schemes offensively, who are they going to be? Defensively, what are they going to bring? And just overall, what is that mentality of a team who has not lost a SWAC game in 2 years? How are they going to come out and try to continue that with so much turnover and changes within that program?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a shock to the Jackson State fans. I don't think they're going to be near as good. Like I said, that whole division is wide open, and I don't know what's going on at Bethune. Yeah, I don't know what's happening over there with their coaching hassle, and then I think they're like Alabama A&M. They were a really good offensive team last year. They were really competitive offensively, but didn't have the defense. But I think don't they have a defensive coach there in charge now? Mm-hmm. So I think they're going to be. I think they'll be improved. It'll be wide open.
I didn't hear you say nothing about Mississippi Valley, Jim.
Well, they lost their coach too. That's a tough place to rebuild. It's a tough place to get it done. So I can't see them. I can't see them being a part of the part of the race. I just the middle of the pack at best, probably.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. For me, I think Willie Simmons and FAMU, they're my favorite to come out of the East. I think Alabama State, for me, is right there near them. If Alabama State can at least play defense as good as what we saw last year and add some offense to it, I think they can be a team because, look, everybody they played, they were right there in it. You can see where Eddie Robinson Jr. has that team headed in the right direction. But Willie Simmons and FAMU has only lost 2 conference games since they've joined the SWAC, and they were to the same team
Jackson State. Other than that, they have not lost a regular season game in October or November since they've joined the conference. And I think, to me, that's pretty impressive. And that says a lot with Willie Simmons, because every year he has turnover, but he seems to always find a way to rebuild his team and have them in contention. And I think the talent, they have enough. I call him the finesse king. FAMU can finesse the heck out you, especially when you look at the talent-wise coming out of Florida.
There's a lot of players, maybe that are from Florida that want to come back, and that's a place they can go back to. There's so many with roots there, and he has probably connections with a lot of kids in a lot of places that might like to come back and spend their senior season starting instead of riding the pine, at some big school. So, they're the team. I'd go. It's a two-way race right now. I think Florida A&M and Alabama State.
And I'm going to give it to the FAMU because Alabama State has to go to FAMU this year. Last year, FAMU had to go on the road to Alabama State, and they got out of there by the grace of the man upstairs. They got out of there. But I think this year, Tallahassee is a hard place to win, trying to beat FAMU. It is tough to beat FAMU in Tallahassee. All right, let's jump over to the SWAC West now, because this is our territory. It is interesting. Let's start with the Texas schools. You got Prairie View, you got Texas Southern. Both teams had the SWAC championship on the silver platters ready to eat, and they both fumbled it away on the same day. Prairie View going up there to Mississippi Valley and getting whooped up on in the country of the Delta of Mississippi. And then Texas Southern is leading by double digits late into the fourth quarter, and they squander it away. Both of them had an opportunity to be in the SWAC championship against Jackson State. But when you look at Texas Southern and when you look at Prairie View over there, and let's start with Prairie View with Coach Bubba McDowell, what do you see from them to build on? Because they were a team that could run the ball last year, but they struggled from the quarterback position as well.
Yeah, they that's give him maybe give him a little bit of a pass because it was his first year. He had a lot of players back that Dooley had won with, but I wasn't that impressed with them last year. Southern smacked them around when they played, and it's not too many teams Southern was able to do that to. So I see their star falling a little bit this year. I don't see them as a big threat. And Texas Southern, Andrew Body, is he back? I don't know.
Dealing with an injury. I'm not sure if he's all the way back. But when you look at Prairie View as well, they pick up the star running back who led the conference in rushing, Caleb Johnson from Mississippi Valley. So you add him to that running back room that was pretty decent last year with Prairie View. That I think it puts them in a position when you get a guy like him that could be 1,000-yard rusher and he can really tote the ball. For Texas Southern, I mean, it's Andrew Body or nothing. That's what happened against Alabama A&M. There was a whole football team out there, and Andrew Body gets out the game, and the rest of the team lost the game. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He carried them, and so if he doesn't stay healthy, they're not going anywhere. I think we all saw that. But then again, if he is healthy, he can carry them because he did that last year. I think the race is going to be in the West is going to be really, really competitive. I don't expect Alcorn. I expect Alcorn to be a lot better, and I expect Grambling to be better in its second year. So there's a lot of competition for Southern to get back to the top. I don't hear nothing about Pine Bluff, Jim. You laugh at that. Say Valley. What's funny, Jim? What's up with the good? Coach, you just don't see anything from them, huh? I don't know. Like I said, they're going to be a mystery team. Yeah. So it's you used to be able to predict based on who had what coming back. Now you don't know who they're losing and who they're gaining. You don't have a grasp of how that's going to affect them. When you have like 18 starters back from a team and they're all there, you can kind of expect the same thing. But, one or two of the right players can completely change
the MO of a program, and especially when they're it's a first-year head coach. We don't know what this coach is bringing.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. I definitely would have had my doubts about Pine Bluff, but let them prove me wrong.
What do you like about Grambling? And I can tell you, for me, I thought last year Grambling played good defense. I thought they had a struggle at the quarterback position. They couldn't throw the ball to save their lives. And they had Southern beat if they just continued to run the ball in the Bayou Classic. I don't know why they got away from it, but you beat Southern in the Bayou Classic if you continue to run the ball, and their defense pretty much has Southern under wrap that entire game. But for you, what do you see with Coach Hugh up there in Grambling State that you like out of them?
Well, I think the NFL is going to be organized, and a second year they're going to be better. And that's not to say that they'll be better than Southern, but they'll be better than Grambling was last year. He'll find a quarterback, he'll make it work, and as long as you're playing great defense, you're going to have a chance in every game. You're going to probably be one play from winning the game. And that's the kind of impression I get from Grambling. They built from the bottom, and they stayed in the games last year, and it was hard. I mean, they gave everybody trouble. They gave everybody, even Jackson State, trouble. Mm-hmm. So you keep an eye on them.
And let's make those fans right up the road, the Alcorn State Braves. They listen to the show as well. Alcorn, a team, they let me down last year. I was preaching to people. I thought it was the gospel. I thought Alcorn was going to be the team to beat in the SWAC West, but they ultimately didn't live up to it, losing to Southern, losing to Texas Southern. When they lost to Texas Southern, I kind of knew right then things wasn't there. Then you look at the back end of the season at that last game, playing close against Jackson. If they had just a little bit of quarterback play, better than what they had, maybe have a good chance against Jackson. But Alcorn, one thing they're going to do, they're going to run the ball. They have those big, tall, physical receivers, but they just been struggling to find a quarterback. And this has been different from what we've seen over year after year after year up until COVID, to seeing this Alcorn team to where who's going to be the quarterback, and they struggled at quarterback.
And they got a good running back. I mean, I think he's back this fall. So, and I like Fred as a coach. I mean, I think he'll get them back where they were. They had a lot. Last year was the year they were coming out of trying to recover from COVID, and so I never want to count them out. I think they're going to be really, really difficult. It's going to be a tough get for Southern to go up there and win. So even though they beat them last year, Southern beat them. It was a close game.
Yeah, you're right. Both back-to-back close games. Southern, of course, beat them by a field goal the year before, and then last year on a fourth down stop right there in A.W. Mumford Stadium, Southern was able to get the ball and force Alcorn to turn the ball over on down and get the victory. So 2 back-to-back. So, Alcorn, they can talk that noise back-to-back. I have never seen that as a Jaguar, me personally. And it's rare for me to even see a victory against Alcorn. But the fact we got back-to-back, I feel good about that now. I feel all right about that. But playing Alcorn is never tough, and I'm not going to sit here and act like it's I say it's never easy. I'm not going to sit here and act like it is either, because they're typically a good team. I like Fred McNair. I think he always has his team mentally prepared. They're physical, and when they strap up against Southern, they make sure they bring it each and every time. And so I'll be interested to see with them. I think my dark horse out of the SWAC West, my dark horse will probably be the Grambling State Tigers. I think when you look at what they had last year, they get the quarterback that transferred. I think it's Miles Crawley that transferred from Alabama State. He's a big kid. He's come into Grambling. I think with his arm, if they can get him right, that's the thing about this league, developing guys to put them in position. Hugh, with that NFL experience, to me, assume that he should be in a better position than probably any other coach in this conference when it comes to developing guys
and getting them better by understanding, coming from the NFL, what does it take in order for a guy to get better through the steps. I'd like Grambling in that position. I think Grambling, for me, be the dark horse coming out of the SWAC West. I think right now, as much as I would like to put Southern the favorite, we don't know who the quarterback is. So I think right now, still the favorite. I'm going to roll with it once again for the second year, and I might bite this one like I did last year, but I'm going to go with Alcorn. I think a SWAC championship game could potentially be Alcorn and FAMU. I like Southern right there, but I think Southern with its running back room gives you an opportunity to feel that they are in a position, because if all else fail, hand it off. You got enough running backs. All else fail, run the Wildcat. If all else fail, hey, man, you got enough guys with talent in that running back room to be able to get you where I think you need to get, especially in the SWAC conference where it's not that much lately when you look at the offense, because the quarterback play has not been good in this conference. So you can kind of finesse your way through, especially when you look at who's the top quarterback coming back. Jeremy Musa at Florida A&M, Andrew Body at Texas Southern. But outside of that, there's really, who can you name at quarterback around this conference?
That's my point. It's like there's been a talent drain. No more Felix Harpers, you know. Yeah.
Shador Sanders is gone.
They're the ones that stand out. They're the ones that carry teams. And I've ever since I started covering the SWAC, the coaches always tell me the teams with the best quarterbacks are the ones that usually win.
Yeah.
So you got to go find one. I know that's why. I know Dooley's got to be. He's got to be sweating this. I just don't know. I don't see Harold Blood leading into the West Division title.
I mean, but Sean McCray took his man, so I think any one of them too. It's going to be close. They had a quarterback from Oklahoma in on a visit this week. We'll see how things turn out. You look at that too, because Clinton McDowell came from UCA, decommitted to Southern. Jason Brown, who came from Virginia Tech and another FCS school I can't think of, initially wanted to come to Southern. He didn't sign to Jackson State. And I'm going to ask you this before I let you go. For Dooley, Coach Dooley, to be the offensive guy that he is, and we've seen year after year that he gets a lot of credit for being an offensive mind, what seems to be something that you think is keeping quarterbacks away from Southern?
Whoa, well, I don't know. It's not. I don't think there's anything specifically keeping them away. You've got to find the guy. You've got to find a guy who's better than what you got. That's the thing. And I mean, if you don't, he's not going to go after He's not going to go after every quarterback. He's going to go after somebody he thinks might come in and be better than what he's got. That's probably a small list right there. It's because the ones that are better than them are either happy where they're at or they're proven and set in where they are. So, the transfer portal is there. It doesn't mean everything in it is good. You get people from the portal and they come in and they may never play. You don't know. Yeah. If they can't handle it. So I don't know. It's hard to find a good quarterback.
Yeah.
You got to have. I think there's so much more to it than his speed and arm strength and things like that. It's being able to stay poised in the pocket, and those guys. You can find a guy with just a half decent arm. If he can stay poised in the pocket, that's who you want. Mm-hmm. You want him to run the team. He gets the ball to the right people, and it doesn't have to be pretty. But those people are hard to find, and they usually are starting somewhere.
Jim, as always, man, I appreciate you for coming on. I hear the birds chirping in the background. I picture you probably sitting outside enjoying a cup of coffee or something this morning with a paper sitting next to you or something, huh?
Yeah, it's something like that. Yes, sir.
Do you ever sit back and read the paper and read your own articles?
Actually, you know what? I read on the internet. I quit reading a paper. I don't read my own articles. I don't look at them after they've written.
Let me tell you, the Jaguar Nation, whether they know who writes it or not, it's Jim Kleinpeter, but trust me, they read it a lot. Every time I look around, especially football season, man, it's shared all over where you see the Advocate and a Southern piece, man. So they really do enjoy your work. So, and I enjoy it as well. And that's why I'm glad to have you on the
the show this morning, man, to be able to talk a little Southern football, man. We got to get you back out there so you can get us some news and some information. And I got to get back out there as well, man. And I'm kind of sitting back waiting to the fall. Like I said earlier in the show, this kind of that period that it seems like it's always funny that last 2 weeks of May always seems like a transitional period. You're coming down off of collegiate sports, getting ready for the summer. And it's just always like that little dead period, that dead zone of trying to figure things out before you get ready to run into the fall.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And the Southern roster still taking shape. So we'll see. We'll know in June, because once they get to June and they get that summer program going, they'll know who they have.
Will you be going to SWAC Media Day this year?
I will be there.
All right. Well, let's see how it is this year. It's going to be some new faces. No Deion Sanders to be in there setting them straight. Did you like when Deion was there?
He created a little buzz.
Well, I know who's going to be the best dressed in there, right?
That's right. He's the best.
Be the best dressed.
Oh, Drip, of course.
Jim, thank you for joining me this morning, man, and definitely get you back on here in the future, man. I hope everything works out for you in terms of your summer and your vacation and however you're going to do it this summer, man. I hope you enjoy being around a pool or on a beach somewhere. All right. My man Jim Kleinpeter, the Advocate. Let's take a break. We come back. Keep the conversation going. Chris, call back in, man, if you want to, all right? Stay tuned. More to Jaguar Journal.
Care South is now providing COVID-19 drive-through community testing at their Baton Rouge clinic. Testing is available for anyone with or without symptoms and no doctor's order required. No insurance? Care South will cover the cost. Care South is a federally qualified health center providing comprehensive medical, dental, and behavioral health services, offering telehealth services and an in-house pharmacy. Satellite clinics in Donaldsonville, Plaquemine, and Zachary. At Care South, we're here for you. Care South. Family serving families. Care South is now providing
All right, we're back. Jaguar Journal, 8:41 a.m. Saturday, May the 20th, 8:42 now. Man, I want to thank my man Jim Kleinpeter for coming on and joining me this morning. Got to get Jim back out there. He knew a little bit, but who we got? Oh, come on. Yeah, we do Chris. Always can do Chris. Come on, Chris. Rock with me.
Yeah, well, one thing I got out of the conversation with Jim, maybe it's something to be optimistic about. I found it very interesting that he said Coach Dooley was looking for experience when last year you played a guy that had never taken a D1 snap and you had a guy that had been in D1 playing for 6 years. So, hopefully maybe that's a trend, Perry. Did you pick up on that?
Yeah, I'm confused. I don't look.
He's looking for experience, and you play a guy that has never taken a D1 snap in his life, and you got a guy sitting here that's going into his 6th year in that atmosphere. But that's another story. I get over it one day, Perry.
I mean, you want that apology, don't you?
Well, no, I guess the thing of it is, and like my friends tell me, let it go, Neil, let it go. And so, my thing is, because like I said, the difference was with in the conference was the best thing Deion Sanders brought to the SWAC was his son. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line. And quarterback play is what makes the difference. So hopefully with Coach Willie Totten there, he'll be able to be that voice that say, look, this is who we need to go with. This is going to give us the best chance to bring the championship home. And hopefully, that's a turn in the right direction because he's got to be well respected and what have you. And so, you just like that experience and everything like that. And hopefully that'll be the thing that'll make the difference for us in order to be able to come on.
And I'm cool with it because, listen, I was not impressed in the spring game by any of the quarterback play that I saw. So I can understand him going out trying to find a quarterback trust. I'm totally okay with it. What I saw at the spring game, brutally honest, I was not impressed. I saw guys that looked like they had a potential. It just, they didn't look comfortable in the pocket when it came to releasing the ball and getting it out. At the same time, I think when you go out and you look for guys, like Jim said in his transfer portal, it sounds good, but you got to make sure you get the right choice. Because remember, we got a kid on the roster right now, transfer portal from UAB, a local kid, and he's not even panning out better than the 1 and 2 guy. So I'm interested to see how that is. I know I use that a lot, but I am so to see where this is going to go because I don't blame him. Last year dealing with Bashawn McCray, you gave a guy that never had Division I snaps before an opportunity to play, and you roll with it. And I think Coach Dooley is now, for me, it seems he learned from that experience. It kind of divided the fan base. It put him in a situation where, people like yourself, me, and many others, we had a lot of questions, and it was putting us in situations to where it was like, all right, what's really going on here? And he rolled with McCray. I mean, got to a championship, but it's so much more. The sky could have been the limit with that team if you had a better quarterback play, but he still does not seem to be comfortable with the guys he has returning. And a lot of it is, to me, seems like maybe if these aren't truly my guys, because I'm still looking at the developmental stage and how much are we going to settle to try to develop a quarterback? Can these guys not be developed? Or we just want a guy to insert, plug and play where he's gotten some form of development from somewhere else?
Well, that might have worked somewhere else, but that's not the way we do things in Southern U. That's not what we built our reputation upon with Coach Pete Richardson. We've always had steady quarterbacks. We've always had quarterbacks in the room, and it continued with Coach Odom. Now, what I saw in the spring game and I'm like you, I didn't see nothing overly impressed. But what I did walk away from the spring game with Perry was I don't see how in the world Harold Blood can beat I know about. That's just what I saw. I just don't think he has the talent that this kid had. And even though, like you said, they look like they're not sure of themselves, but just from what I saw, I just can't see Harold Blood beating them out, and that's the reason why I think you hear Jim talking about it. If we gonna go with Harold Blood,
he said it's gonna be blood on the
exactly. Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So hopefully, with Coach Totten coming in and knowing the position and being able to coach the position, that he'll bring the best out of them and everything like that. But, you know, the transport portal, as far as players leaving, I think Trey Lang, he mentioned Trey Lang had gone, and I think that Trey Lang actually signed with Indiana in the Big Ten.
Okay, I haven't checked that out. That's
yeah, look that up. I'm assuming that's where it goes. Then we lost Jason Greathouse. He's also entered the portal.
I don't know what was up with him. They made a big deal about him signing to Southern. He was initially, I think, supposed to sign to Grambling. He did a whole big thing on YouTube and ultimately signed with Southern. And I was looking to really hear some big things from him, and he just kind of just went into the wind. You really didn't hear much about him. I think he dealt with some injuries last year, but he was not the impact that I thought he was going to be.
No, and then, you know, like I say, with all the legal problems, I'm still trying to figure out how he got out of that, because I never heard any more about the legal troubles that he had going on, and, you know, and everything like that. And the reason why I thought that you wasn't hearing a whole lot about him, they was kind of like flying up on the radar with, based upon the legal allegations that he was having to deal with back in Georgia. But also, here's the interesting thing, no, Perry, it's something else that you can do research on is what done happened to Ethan Howard, because I haven't seen where he signed with anybody since he went into the portal.
And I like Ethan Howard. I named big hand Ethan Howard. I thought for me, he had the best hands on the team. I thought when you even didn't matter receiver what, Ethan Howard at the tight end position for me was somebody that you really depend on, and I liked everything about him.
Right, and I, you know, with an offensive minded coach like Coach Dooley coming in, I don't know what happened, but I hadn't seen where he's actually transferred. I think Grambling offered him, but I hadn't seen where he actually has signed with him. So I said all that to say this: really, the transport portal has not really affected us. We haven't really had a mass exodus of players leaving. You know, obviously the kicker left and everything, going to Jackson State, and he chirping over there and everything like that. But yeah, he over there chirping and everything. His family chirping. This is much better, and that's much better, and all of this and that. But then again, he's not chirping about the problems that he had from an academic standpoint, not handling his business the way he should. But, you know, these are things that we deal with. But by and large, we pretty much got our team back intact, and we've also added to it. You know, with the transport portal, is really hard to judge. Like the big defensive tackle from Arkansas, we never saw him. We never saw him hit the field. Don't know what happened with him. You know, so we never got him to actually suit up. And another thing is looking at Devin Cotton. Will Devin Cotton be back? How has he recovered? Will he be able to be back to play for us this year, which would be a big impact from us on the defensive side of the ball. So,
you know, there's one guy who I've been waiting to see, never going to happen. Transferred in from Troy.
Oh no,
man!
His time up there. I think he tried out for the league. He's done.
It's so long to see him suit up as a Jaguar. Waited for so long and never saw. He was a kid I thought really could have been something for Southern. I really do believe he could have been something for Southern. When I looked at his highlights from Troy, but we never did get a chance to even see it, man. That was just one that I think that one let me down. He never could quite seem to get things together off the field, but I really was looking to see Terrence Dunlap in a Southern University uniform.
Well, you look at our secondary, especially when you look at from the cornerback position and everything like that. You got Davis, and then you got Johnson. Johnson, natural athlete, track guy that's really learning the position, and I only look for him to get better. And then Davis, Christian with the size and everything that he has, and really, and Coach Miller really is impressive. You know, I wasn't that impressed with Coach Miller when he was here before as the defensive back coach under Coach Richardson. Maybe maybe he didn't necessarily have the athletes or whatever. But the defense we put on the field last year, Coach Miller did an outstanding job. Considering the poor offensive quarterback play that we were experiencing, I think he did an outstanding job. And if you look at the championship game, and we down 26-0, the team is deflated, the fans are deflated, people going back to the bus, people going back to the car, and then we turn that thing around. they don't have Shedeur Sanders at quarterback. We rally back and come all the way back because we had them on pins and needles, like I said. And so that's the reason for optimism. And that's also the thing that's a driving force in how we just let a season get away. We just literally let a season get 26-0 in Jackson. And we get up off the deck like that. So hopefully that sticks with us, and that's the thing that can carry over into the new season. And I'm so glad that you informed me about our situation with the track team and everything like that. It's good news to hear. You don't know if you don't ask. I just on the outside looking in and everything. Because everybody has their passion or what particular part of the athletic department that you are passionate. But I'm kind of glad to hear that we were that close in the competition, because I never really see the order finish on how we come on the Commissioner's Cup. So I'm glad to hear that the track program is coming back around and everything like that, because it was always big in my day, and it has always been something to be proud of. So I'm just glad to see that the trajectory is pointed up as far as that goes. But at the end of the day, though, Perry, it's going to be real ugly if the Fighting Jaguars are not in the SWAC championship game. And it's going to really get ugly if we don't eventually get to Atlanta.
I'll give you a whole show to yourself when that time comes. I will give you a whole show to yourself, Chris. You got it.
Well, the thing of it is
got about 30 seconds here. Go ahead.
Okay. The thing of it is the Jaguar Nation pay money. We travel. And, we deserve it. We really do. With the support that we have, the support that we're willing to have from that standpoint. I know it's a lot more we could be doing, but one thing about it, we'll support a good football team, and the football team drives.
All right. We've reached the back end. My man Mike giving me them fingers. He giving me the numbers, counting me down. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank everybody on the YouTube channel, on the Jaguar Journal YouTube, in the chat. I know you guys have conversations amongst yourselves on there. A lot of times you say good morning to me and good morning to you guys and everybody on there that's paying attention on the Jaguar Journal YouTube. Get those likes up, and as always, I appreciate you guys. Everybody that's out there listening on 107.3 FM, thank you guys for listening, tuning in on the radio. And anybody that's listening, I think it's on the iHeart app and everything else, anywhere else. However you're listening to the Jaguar Journal, man, I thank you guys. But what I want all y'all to do is go to the Jaguar Journal YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button, all right? So we can get you to subscribe so you can go back and listen and watch if you missed the show or you want to catch any of the previous shows in the past, all right? So thank you guys for that, and guess what? We come to the end of another show. Shout out to the Southern Jaguars. They taking on the Golden Lions of Pine Bluff today at Lee Hines Stadium, so you get over there and get a chance to check them out. And this week, deal with the SWAC baseball tournament out in Atlanta, Georgia, Russ Chandler Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, May the 24th through the 28th. So by the time the next show comes on, I'll be able to let you know where the Jaguars stand in baseball. And if it's against a SWAC team, I like our chances, all right? So if the man upstairs says the same as my man Reggie Flood say, we'll be back at the same time in the same place. As always, it's the Jaguar Journal.